What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Astro DFS, and in today's video, I'm going over Week 3's Monday Night Showdown between the Lions and Baltimore. Before we get into that, I'll recap my main line for Week 3 for cash. And yes, it was another disappointing week for me. Missed cash by a lot this week, 44 points. Just go over my process really quick, and then we'll get into the video. So, unfortunately, I did have CD Lamb in my lineup, so although he was owned by 49% of the entries, putting up 0 points at 8,000 kind of just kills your day. And then I played Dak over Caleb Williams and Marcus Mariota. With CD not playing, that's usually a factor into it. Definitely played Bijan over CMC. CMC outscored him. And then went different in tight end and wide receiver. Went with Wicks over Cleveland. Obviously, Green Bay sucked in that one. And then went Bowers over Washington, where Trey Tucker had a really good day on Brock Bowers. Pretty much not utilized that much. Didn't need to be. And then everything else was standard. Went Mason. Went Rome for the run back. Ricky Pearsall paid off, obviously. But the rest of my lineup, I mean, I've had 3 straight weeks of injuries in my cash lineup, which sucks. Kittle week 1. Joe Burrow last week, and now CeeDee Lamb this week. So definitely disappointing. Is probably the worst streak I've had as far as just injuries. I've been on losing streaks before, but a lot of injuries. So let's get into why you guys are here, though. So we get if not the highest, then one of the highest game totals so far we've had this season. We get 2 of the best offenses last year, and looks to be this year. Defense is definitely underperforming, especially on the Detroit side, where you have Detroit getting healthy. You expect them to be better. I mean, if you look at the Bears game, sure, you could say that, but I mean, still, this defense just has not been good as far as just a statistical point. They haven't allowed a lot of points when you look at it, but statistically, it hasn't been the best. And then Baltimore, who, yeah, they played Cleveland last week, but week 1 you face, one of the best offenses in Buffalo. And now you get Detroit as well. So Baltimore is favorited. They are home, so that usually plays a factor into it. So let's get into kind of where I'm at with this game. So I think both quarterbacks are in amazing spots in this one. Lamar not at that 12K price point somehow. So it definitely is more playable this time around than the Thursday night game. So yeah, Lamar at 11.8, I think is in a really good spot against Detroit. I think the Detroit running man coverage, we've seen both Zay Flowers, DeAndre Hopkins kind of really succeed against man coverage so far this year. The corners for Detroit, no one has really stepped up to be that shutdown corner. I mean, we just saw Rome Odunze have a really good game against Detroit. So there's not yet what we thought Detroit's defense could be when healthy. Hopefully down the road, if you're a Detroit fan, you hope that secondary, kind of the entire defense for the most part, besides I would say the linebackers mostly, kind of step up. But yeah, Lamar's in a really good spot with Zay Flowers and DeAndre Hopkins. Jahmyr Gibbs is in a really good spot. You see how Baltimore's been against running back so far, especially in the receiving game. Jahmyr Gibbs has taken, if you look at the snaps, David Montgomery's snaps are really down compared to Jahmyr Gibbs so far this season. So Jahmyr Gibbs is also at a very high premium. It's going to be very hard to kind of dictate where you're going to go with all these 10K players. And then you still get Goff and Flowers. But I think Gibbs is in a really good spot here against Baltimore. Baltimore dealing with 2 guys in their interior injuries that are out already. Kyle Van Noy being one of them. So yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs I think has a really good advantage, not only in the run game, but in the receiving game as well. Amon-Ra has a really good matchup against Humphrey tonight. Humphrey, pretty much their slot guy. And Amon-Ra's numbers versus man coverage are ridiculous. He also is one of the most targeted wide receivers so far in the red zone. And he has yet to even play the 3rd game, so could look for Amon-Ra to get a few more red zone targets in this one as well. Derrick Henry, this one is tougher. One of the things I would give Detroit the advantage of their defense so far is that interior. The linebackers are really good, could load the box. So yeah, it's really tough to play Derrick Henry and Lamar in this one. So I'm going to lean Lamar and probably pivot lower off Derrick Henry than most. Jared Goff, yeah, it's a really, really good spot for Jared Goff. Him getting checkdowns to Jahmyr Gibbs when he needs to. Amon-Ra and him should have a really good game. Look for someone like Sam Laporta to have, a pretty good game as well. Would look at, maybe a Tesla. He just doesn't get as much snaps to really be as playable. So Jared Goff, yes, though. He's in a really good spot. He's under 10K. 36 points against the Bears. Even against Green Bay, if they get in the red zone, and he doesn't suck in the red zone, he was 31 for 39. Like, this completion percentage is crazy for Jared Goff right now. The yards are there. 5 touchdowns. I don't think we're gonna get a 5 touchdown game out of Jared Goff. But if you combine them, 3 touchdowns a game. So let's say Jared Goff gets 2 or 3 touchdowns and gets 240, 250. I think is where his projected line is. I think like 250 plus. So yeah, it's pretty easy to like Jared Goff and kind of balance the games a little bit more. But his completion percentage is crazy. Baltimore's secondary has not been that good, although they have some really good safeties. So I would look more for the shorter passes in this one. So that's why I like Gibbs. That's why I like someone like Amon-Ra. I like Sam Laporta. Don't like J-Mo as much, but J-Mo, they find ways to get J-Mo the ball quick, and just whether it's a pitch, whether it's a outside zone run, they find ways to get Jameson Williams the ball, but he's pretty much their deep threat. David Montgomery, although he is priced down, like, he could be a good leverage play if you want to get different. David Montgomery's probably going to be lower owned than Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously. But for his price point, the usage, he's still in a good spot, right? He's still a dual threat running back. 2 games, right? Still doesn't shine for what he does, but he's gotten 11 carries in both games. Week 1, we saw him get 4 targets, although the yardage was definitely not there. We see it in a better matchup against Chicago, and now we have a better matchup than what we saw in Green Bay against Baltimore tonight. So David Montgomery could be in a good spot based off of his price. Yeah, Sam Laporta at his price, like we saw Kincaid be the optimal captain in that Thursday night game. We could see it again with Sam Laporta against Baltimore. He's facing Roquan Smith. I mentioned the injuries to Baltimore's kind of interior, but that affects someone like Roquan Smith as well, because against a team like Detroit, who has been known as a run team for the last 3 years, even without Ben Johnson this season, they're going to utilize David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. They stack the box a little more when David Montgomery's in, so we could see Sam Laporta get a few more play action type passes his way. So at 5,400, I think he's in a really good spot, especially when you consider the kickers in this slate are $200 and $400 cheaper than him. I think he's in a really good spot at 5,400. The kickers, I'm not as interested in them. The one thing I would say is the red zone for these defenses is concerning. Detroit allows a lot of third down conversions, but Baltimore just hasn't been good. So yeah, like, the kickers can be in play. Usually I'm high on the kickers on showdowns, but in this one I'm probably going to stay away. A 50-point total. Usually we see one of these kickers emerge as a 10-plus point guy. But for some of the values we have on this slate, I'd rather go some other routes. Like DeAndre Hopkins is cheaper than both kickers. The issue with DeAndre Hopkins is Wallace gets in a lot more. DeAndre Hopkins barely saw the field last week, but when he did, it was good. So that's a concern with DeAndre Hopkins in this one. Like, the matchup is good against man coverage against Detroit. He just doesn't get on the field as much. So the times he does get on the field, you need him to get the ball, right? In the 2 games so far, 2 targets in both games, right? He gets a touchdown in both games, but if you take the touchdown out, you get him at 8.4 and you get him at 5.5. So don't be as touchdown dependent on DeAndre Hopkins to hit that value, especially when his price goes up. Granted, this is the realistic 4.2 against Buffalo. Now we am at 4.8 against Detroit, and he did not see a lot of snaps last week against Cleveland. Obviously, they were winning, so you don't need to utilize them as much, but Wallace saw the field a lot more. And you get someone like Andrews at 4.4, although the thing about Andrews is Detroit has played tight ends really, really tough. That is one thing they've done well defensively the last 2 seasons. So you have to, as good as Mark Andrews should be, yet again, he's just not getting utilized. Detroit plays tight ends really, really good. So Mark Andrews is kind of tough to play, which brings in Rashad Bateman at 4K. This Rashad Bateman should be a little higher owned than most in this tier just because of his price point, right? We've seen him so far this year, 4 targets, 3.5, and 3. When you look at his price point against Buffalo, this is a huge discount, right? This is a showdown price. This is a huge discount you're getting on Rashad Bateman. He is on the field a lot. He is the second highest snap shared wide receiver for Baltimore. Obviously, Zay Flowers number 1. And then you get Wallace and Hopkins kind of, those are the two guys kind of switching out. Bateman obviously still gets switched out too. It's not saying he has like 100% snap share. It's just unrealistic. But this is a potential game where we see someone like Rashad Bateman stand out, right? Obviously, Detroit should play an emphasis on covering someone like Zay Flowers, who's had an amazing year so far this year. And we could see someone like Rashad Bateman kind of stand out. So at 4K, he's kind of the value I'm looking at as a standout piece to get a Baltimore pass catcher. The defenses, the defenses haven't performed well enough. There is that potential, especially on the Baltimore side, with some of the pieces they have in their secondary. But Jared Goff's been playing pretty damn good, even with the loss to Green Bay, them not being efficient in the red zone on 4th downs. Jared Goff still had a really good game statistically, so it's really hard to play against that. So both defenses kind of not playable as well. And then I mentioned Wallace, right? Wallace is 3K. He gets on the field a whole hell of a lot more than DeAndre Hopkins. All Baltimore receivers, even Hopkins has a good matchup, but a guy that's going to get on the field a little more. Granted, you look at the week 1 against Buffalo, still on the field a lot, but last week against Cleveland, he does get a touchdown, gets 2 for 25, so definitely he is playable as well. And then we start to get, like, there's value, right? Devontae Walker got on the field quite a bit last week, 2 for 2. Like, there's a lot of value on this slate, which I like. You get someone like Khalif Raymond, who gets on the field more than Tesla, but Tesla's been more efficient. I think Isaac Tesla is someone to look at. I don't love, but look at for this slate. Khalif Raymond, I think, would be someone worth mentioning a little more. But I think Tesla has a higher ceiling than Raymond. It's just Raymond gets on the field a lot more than Tesla. So kind of the value pieces down here that are like Tylan Wallace at 3K. Brock Wright's also worth mentioning. It's a showdown. We know how these primetime games go, where a random tight end pops off for a touchdown, could get you 8 points and be, worth it at 2.4. Khalif Raymond, Walker, Tesla, these guys get on the field. Justice Hill, I'm not as interested in, right? He just hasn't been utilized so far this season, worth paying that price point. So I will do an example lineup and we'll go from there. Let's start off on captain. Let's go Sam Laporta just to see what we could do. I want to get Lamar. Let's get Gibbs. We're at 65. So this is tough. So we're going to have to pay down for somebody. Let's put Bateman in and see where that takes us. We're at 77. Let's put Goff in. We're at 61. So we don't get Amon-Ra. We don't get J-Mo. We don't get Zay. So let's see. So let's see if we take Gibbs out and we put Montgomery in, then we can get Amon-Ra. So that would be kind of different. I still get a Detroit running back. This is a 4-2 stack, obviously, so I'm not playing Zay. I'm not playing Derrick Henry. I'm not playing DeAndre Hopkins. So this is just saying that Lamar and Bateman are going to go off, and then Jared Goff, Amon-Ra, Laporta, Montgomery. So kind of different, right? 4-2 stacks, usually not ideal on a, when Baltimore's favorited, a high total. It's kind of a 3-3 is what you want. But just an example of just some of the guys I like on this slate and getting all, getting Goff, getting Amon-Ra, getting Lamar, getting Bateman, getting Laporta. So just an example, right? But it is tougher, right? When you have this much expensive players up here, it's hard to get everybody, right? We're still fading a 10-6 Gibbs, who's in a great spot, and a 10-2 Derrick Henry in a great spot. And then, a guy that's done really well against man coverage so far this season in Zay Flowers. So just getting different, just giving an example. So hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Let me know who you guys rocked with yesterday, and if you guys had a successful cash week 3 or not. So let me know, and I will see you guys in the next one.